The Information Technology and General Services Committee will now come to order. I'll begin by announcing the items that will be put on the consent calendar. That would be item number 6, item number 9, item number 10, item number 13, and item number 15. Is there anybody here who has filled out a public comment card on either one of those items? 6, 9, 10, 13, and 15? Okay, seeing and hearing none, those items will go on consent. We now begin by going to item number 1.
Item number 1, CLA report relative to the selection of developer and project negotiations in connection with a mixed-use, transit-oriented project on city-owned property, generally bounded by 1st Street, Alameda Street, Temple Street, and the future Hewitt Street extension, collectively referred to as Mangrove Estates, and related matters.
Yes.
Andrea Galvin, CLA. In 2006, in order to elicit city and community concerns, Council instructed the CLA to establish the East Civic Center Task Force, which includes the CLA, Mayor's Office, CAO, Planning, the CRA, Bureau of Engineering, and MTA. This task force held workshops in the area and developed the Little Tokyo Planning and Design Guidelines to assist in the development of the East Civic Center, which includes the city-owned property located at 1st and Alameda Streets, commonly referred to as Mangrove Estates. On May 22, 2007, Council authorized the CLA to release a request for proposals for the sale and development of a mixed-use property on the Mangrove site and to ensure community concerns were addressed in the RFP. The East Civic Center Task Force was also involved in the creation of the RFP. The RFP was released on August 2, 2007, and proposals were due on November 2, 2007. The selection panel, which was comprised of staff from the CLA, CAO, CRA, with one community member each from the Arts District and the Little Tokyo Community Council, reviewed and evaluated 5 proposals that were submitted based on the evaluation criteria set forth in the RFP. Proposals were scored based on responsiveness of development concept and purchase offer, community employment, expanded living wage, and other community benefits, financial feasibility of the project, development team qualifications, and financial capacity of the development team. Upon a preliminary scoring process, the selection panel concurred that 3 of the proposals merited an interview as well as further financial analysis. Attention B of the CLA report includes more details of the evaluation criteria. Interviews were held with the 3 teams on February 19th and 20th, 2008. On March 12, 2008, a public community meeting was held at the Japanese American National Museum, where over 200 community members attended to hear the project concepts. A financial analysis was prepared by Kaiser Marston Associates from February 2008 through May 2008. In addition, the city architect was asked to give input on each of the 3 proposals. Ultimately, the selection panel ranked the 3 final teams, and the development team of Nikkei Center, comprised of Kaji and Associates, Urban Partners, and the Little Tokyo Service Center, was selected. On June 24, 2008, each of the teams was notified of the results and were advised of their right to appeal the decision before council consideration. No requests for appeal were received. At this time, the CLA requests approval of the selection of Nikkei Center and the development team of Kaji and Associates, Urban Partners, and the Little Tokyo Service Center for the purchase of the property and the development of a mixed-use project. The authority to enter into an exclusive negotiation agreement with the selected developer, which will set the terms and conditions for a negotiating period lasting from the date of the approval of these recommendations through March 1st, 2009, with 2 optional 90-day extensions, and the authority to negotiate with the second highest scoring developer, First and Alameda Partners, for the balance of the time period through March 1st, 2009, with 2 90-day extensions. That would be if the city and the selected developer are not able to negotiate satisfactory agreements. In order to facilitate this process, we ask that GSD be instructed to prepare an ordinance for the sale of city-owned surplus property. Proceeds from this property sale will be deposited into the Special Parking Revenue Fund, In addition, we request that CLA and CAO evaluate the SPRF and other bond programs to provide options to ensure repayment of the SPRF. In addition, we request that GSD, I already said that, will be instructed to prepare the ordinance for the sale price of $44 million. Thank you.
We have public comment cards on item number 1. We'll begin by calling up, trying to read the writing here, Marie Ramirez, is it? Oh. Are you going to be a doctor?
That's actually my neat writing, too.
All right.
Hi, good afternoon. Marie Rumsey here on behalf of Councilmember Jan Perry. And I'm just here to say that we support the CLA's report. They did a great job at running this RFP and evaluating the different proposals. And I do have one amendment to ask for. On item 4 in the CLA report, we'd like to ask for authority for the CLA to negotiate with the second and third highest scoring developer instead of just the second highest. We
Is there
felt
any-
that.
Based on that recommendation from the Council District 9 representative or the council member of District 9, does anything preclude us in following that amendment to your recommendations?
No, we're fine.
Okay, thank you. So we'll consider the item with that amendment. Thank you. Ernest Hida and Akemi Yano, come on up. There's 2 chairs here. Okay.
Okay, my name is Ernest Hida, the past president and current advisor to the LA Nishi Honganji Buddhist Temple, located at First and Bigness, and we're the easterly neighbor of the Mangrove property. I've been involved in the Little Tokyo community for quite a number of years, and in doing so, I've got to know the current recommended developers who have been very active in the community. One of the partners in the development team, the Little Tokyo Service Center, provides vital social services to the community, Little Tokyo Community Arts District, and the surrounding community. In doing so, they've become part of the community. As such, they have a very better vision, very better knowledge of the community. And our temple supports and endorses this Nikkei Center project for this development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Akemi?
Yes, I'm Akemi Kikumura Yano, and I'm the president and CEO of the Japanese American National Museum. I'm here to support the Nikkei Center team. I'm very confident that they will serve the best interest of our community. As you know, we are located, the project is located across from us. We are located on Alameda and First on the northwest corner of Alameda and First. We're really quite excited about this development. We feel that it will really revitalize the Little Tokyo community. We know the developers and feel very, very confident that they will serve the best interests and needs of our community.
Thank you. Chris Aihara and Carl Kawada. Please begin.
My name's Chris Aihara. I'm the current chair of the Little Tokyo Community Council, which is made of 100 stakeholders, Little Tokyo community organizations, nonprofits, residents, and businesses. We are very grateful for the opportunity afforded us by the CLA to have community input into the selection recommended or to review the selected teams, the 3 teams for the mangrove development. And we heartily agree and support the recommendation of the CLA. We have had, again, long-standing relationships of more than 20 years with the key developers. We understand that we believe that they are very much committed to the maintenance of the historic and cultural legacy of Little Tokyo, as well as true collaborators looking for a multicultural vision for downtown that will be important to everyone. So we heartily recommend and support the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Carl Kawata. I am Executive Director of Japanese Chamber of Commerce of Southern California. We do have members, 230 members, and we will support the Nikkei Center project.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes the public comment cards that were filled out for item number 1. Is there anybody else here who wishes to speak on item number 1? Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 1 is now closed. What was the timeline of this particular RFP process?
The RFP was released August 2nd of last year, 2007. And proposals were due 90 days later, November 2nd, 2007. Since then, it has been a review process.
Okay. And at what point in time does the city enter into an exclusive negotiating agreement with the proposed
Upon
developer?
council approval.
Okay. So, was there an appeal process?
There was an appeal process. We didn't receive any requests for an appeal.
And that appeal process was open for how long?
I believe it was 6 days.
And as far as we can tell, we didn't get any latecomers or what have you in that appeal process?
I didn't receive any formal letters of appeal during that process.
Okay. I was going to ask a question about community input, but obviously there was a lot of community input, certainly from the immediate area. Okay. Now, what would be the procedure if the proposed developer would not be able to follow through with their commitment, such as the funding and follow through with the agreement?
If the city and the developer were not able to successfully negotiate at that time, which is why we're asking for approval to negotiate with the second highest team, and with the amendment, it would also be the third highest. So.
Okay. All right, so hopefully if such an occurrence would take place, then we would not lose very much time. We would already have
Exactly.
the second or third potential developer in place. Okay. All right. Okay, well, thank you for your report. It'll be a recommendation of the chair of this committee to approve the CLA report as amended, and thank you. We'll jump to item number 5, and then we'll go back to item number 2.
Item number 5, motion, Gruel Parks, relative to the direct sale of Fire Station Number 78, located at 4230 North Coldwater Canyon Boulevard, APN 237-502-1900.
Okay. And this fire station is in which district?
Good afternoon, Jerry Miller, CLA. This is in Council Member Gruel's district, District 2.
Okay, is there anybody here representing Ms. Gruel's office? You are not Ms. Gruel.
No, sir. Jim D'Antona, Planning Deputy for Councilmember Gruel.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. CLA,
Yes, sir.
what comments do you have on this item?
Well, this is really just the first step. It authorizes us to go forward and negotiate. The Fire Station 78, in fact, has been replaced, and the fire department is now in the process of moving out. The surplus property process on this property is nearing completion. This was one of the properties identified by the mayor's office for the funding for the current year budget. The proceeds from the sale of this property. The surrounding property, the adjacent property owner literally surrounds this piece of property. And they expressed an interest in wanting to sit down with the city to talk about negotiating a direct sale. So really, that's all the authorization there is today. We would have to come back to you with an agreed-upon price for a
So we
direct
do
sale.
not have a current a current appraisal on record.
We do have an appraisal, yes.
What's that appraisal?
And it's, as I recall, about $1.7 million.
Okay. So the fact that the adjacent landowner surrounds this property, at least on 3 sides, it sounds like.
Yes.
Then what that means is there is a legal nexus for us to get into a direct sale negotiated with them instead of having to go out to bid.
Well, I think it will go beyond that. We're going to have to come back to you with the public benefits that would accrue as well. But we believe that there's an opportunity to get those given the location of the property, the size of the property, and what the adjacent property owner is planning for his property.
And
certainly
is the council district office familiar with this particular property owner, and have they expressed an interest in having public benefit involved in this transaction?
We did. We spoke with the current owner of the Sportsman's Lodge, Richard Weintraub. It was his proposal. It's right on the river. It would create a nice nexus from Ventura to create an access to the river. That's one of the possibilities, and we'd like to see explored. But there are many opportunities here to see some kind of public benefits package, and then that would facilitate a direct sale again because of the access to his property on all 3 sides.
What is the size of the fire station property, roughly?
I wanted to say it was like 20,000 square feet. It was actually pretty small.
It's relatively small. It's certainly less than an
Exactly
acre.
half an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, for the record, we also will be working with city attorney. Obviously, there are legal thresholds that need to be met for a direct sale, and we'll be working very closely with them as well.
But there is precedent, from what I understand, when it
There
comes
is
to direct
precedent.
sales.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to adjacent property owners.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. We are on item number 5. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 5? Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 5 is now closed. With that, it will be a recommendation of the chair of this committee to adopt the motion.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. All right. With that, we go back to item number 2.
Item number 2, continued from April 1st, 2008. Motion, Reyes Perry, relative to authorizing Department of General Services to negotiate and execute a lease with Goodwill, Southern California for use of approximately 12,000 square feet of city property located at 303 North San Fernando Road to provide temporary parking for Goodwill's Metro North Worksource Center.
Okay. I'm going to open up item number 2 for public comment, and then we'll hear from the staff. Again, I can't read the writing. His name is Barr?
Doug.
Doug Barr? Okay. See, I almost said ding, and I knew that was wrong.
Well, getting a C in penmanship in grade 8 was one of my great achievements, Mr. Chairman.
Born to be a doctor. And then we also have Greg Smith and Jill Surreal. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. My name is Doug Barr. I'm the president and CEO of Goodwill, Southern California. Goodwill has been a fixture in this community for 92 years. Our mission is to provide education, training, job opportunities in the community to disabled and vocationally disadvantaged individuals. And every day we have about 130 disabled individuals who come to our plant to work in our electronic recycling and secure shredding businesses. But one of the key components of our mission to carry it out has been the location of the Metro North Worksource Center in our complex. For the last 7 years, we have steadily grown the number of people that we serve. Until last year, in 2007, we had 34,000 visits of LA residents to our facility looking for work and help in finding an ability to get over obstacles to work. We also placed 590 individuals in good jobs paying an average of $11.40 an hour starting wage. The economic impact of that, just in that specific location, was about $3 million to the taxpayers of this city. The program's been very successful to us, but it does strain our parking capacity. And in just a second, we'll refer to that. In addition to Metro North Worksource Center, Our facility is used on a regular basis as a polling station for elections, press conferences for the mayor and council member Reyes. Use for the auditorium is involved the consultations for the Taylor Yard LA River project. Regular meetings have been held of the LA, that specific council issue. Chamber meetings. Recently we were approached by the Workforce Investment Board because they had to forfeit their fourth floor of their building in terms of space. You may know about this, Mr. Chairman, because of cost cutting, and they approached us to see whether we would provide space to them for the WIB meetings and for our council meetings. We have said we would do that at no charge. So all of these things really add up, from our perspective, as a heavy load on our parking. We think that the yard, which is right beside our yard, would be ideal. Now, Mr. Smith can give you the specifics in terms of what we're prepared to contribute to that.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the specifics are, as you've already know, it's 12,000 square feet. We feel we can...
Your name for the record again?
I'm sorry, it's Craig Smith. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Goodwill. Okay. As we've already stated, we're looking at about 12,000 square feet, which is, I believe, approximately about half of the space that's there. It's adjacent to our parking lot right now, where we have 126 spaces. The challenge we have is that we also operate a business there in terms of our Goodwill support, as well as our own recycling and shredding businesses. The WorkSource North Center, Metro North WorkSource Center, gets approximately 32,000 visits a year. Some of those are multiple visits from different people, but puts a great strain on 126 spaces that we try to provide for our employee parking. There's a lot of development going on in the area that creates issues for us in terms of people use that parking that we don't always know are going to use that parking, so we are really strained every day. When we have events happen, like job fairs that we host for Metro WorkSource North, we virtually turn over our entire parking lot for the people that attend those job fairs. That doesn't happen every single day, but it does happen periodically, and what winds up happening is we wind up having to put our people on the street or try to find some other parking wherever they can. So, because we do give priority to Metro WorkSource North. By giving us this a right to use the parking lot, we're going to put in about $100,000 of improvements. We're going to pave it. We're going to put lights in. We're going to put a 8-foot cyclone fence in, and we're also going to provide landscaping all along that frontage, which we think will add a great deal of a big improvement to the area. We can be ready to go in 30 days if we get approval, and we're anxious for approval, obviously, and we think that will be a big improvement and a big help to not only Goodwill, but to the city as well.
I don't know if we're known for moving that fast. I hope we do in this case.
We can move that fast.
I know you can. I was talking about the city.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jill.
Jill Soriel, representing Councilmember Reyes' office. We're in full support of moving the lease forward as quickly as possible. We have been working with city staff as well as Goodwill to come up with the terms of a lease that we feel is a win-win for the community. Sanitation is currently studying the property. They're not actually using it for anything for at least the next 2 to 3 years, and so this is an interim solution for them. They are providing security as well as other benefits to the community that they've already outlined, and we are working with planning department on a specific plan for the area that will incorporate the long-term parking solutions. We're looking at some shared parking. There's a lot of community services in the area, as well as new residences going in, so we would just like to move forward as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on item number 2? Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 2 is now closed. I want to thank you for the service that you've provided to our city for so many decades, and also there's obviously public benefit to working with your organization on this site. I want to thank the councilman and his staff for working with you and coming up with the potential agreed-on points of this. Sounds like an annual lease with a month-to-month thereafter, and an initial investment in excess of $100,000, and also the will or ability to pay $3 per parking space thereafter. How many parking spaces are we talking about?
We're probably looking at approximately 50 to 60.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And there are some other provisions in the letter that was provided to this committee by Councilmember Reyes based on the basic terms. So with that, I'll instruct the GSD, Department of General Services, to negotiate and execute a lease with Goodwill Incorporation on the provisions included in the letter of record from Councilmember Reyes' office. That'll be the basis for the negotiations of the lease. And in addition to that, this committee, it'll be a recommendation of the chair to adopt the motion with those instructions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we move to item number 3.
Item number 3, ITA report relative to cost communication channel additions, changes, and installation rate increase.
And item 3 and 4? Does
Yes.
that make sense? Okay, item 3 and 4.
And item number 4 is ITA report relative to Time Warner programming and pricing changes for various areas of the city.
Thank you. With regard to item number 3, the Cox, which operates in CD15 only, intends to add channels to its premier channel lineup from channels 445 to 476. They also intend to take a price increase in the installation charges, increasing from $45.95 to $49.95, and HD DVR installation from $49.95 to $54.90. As you're aware, Council Chair Cardenas, the city lacks the authority to regulate the rates of the cable operators in the city of Los Angeles now with the new state law in effect. And federal law also preempts, or would have preempted the city anyway, from regulating the upper tiers of the cable operators. So this is provided for notice only, notification only to the city.
So I just want to clarify for the record, you said the city lacks. We don't lack the will or the want to work with our constituents on these matters, but the fact of the matter is both state and federal law prohibits us from having certain responsibilities or taking on certain responsibilities, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Which was not the case just a couple of years ago.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, with regard to Time Warner, which affects most of the city, they are changing their channel lineups in some areas. They're adding channels in others. We've provided the specifics of that in the report to council that's been filed. There's been some channel deletions. There's also a new package offer, El Paquetazo, of affecting the Spanish-speaking channel lineup that they have. That package will cost $34.95. They are also launching new channels in the area, and they are adding free channels or additional channels to their El Paquetazo tier. There aren't any planned price increases with those service changes other than the $34.95. They're correcting a channel addition that they made to KBS America. They're deleting that. And there will be increases in their trip charges from $16.95 to $19.95, as well as an additional outlet fee from $13.95 to $14.95. And the same should be said about our authority to regulate the rates in these areas that you mentioned earlier.
It is said.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 3 and item number 4? They are now being heard on the agenda. Seeing and hearing nobody here to speak on public comment on items 3 and 4. Public comment for items 3 and 4 are now closed. With that, we'll note and file.
If I may, I failed to state my name, William Imperial from the Information Technology Agency. I'm always here.
Thank you, William.
You know who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, Bill. We now move to item number 7.
Item number 7, motion Zine Cardenas relative to requesting the city attorney and directing the Department of General Services and any other affected city department to report on the impacts of the July 2nd, 2008 Superior Court decision nullifying several private security contracts totaling $6.7 million.
General Services.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Jerry Perez, Department of General Services, Office of Public Safety.
Okay.
Ted Jordan, City Attorney's Office.
Good afternoon, Deputy City Attorney Bill Casella.
Okay. Apparently there was an impact to the city by July 2nd, 2008 Superior Court decision. What, can we clarify for the record what occurred or how that impacted us?
The court's decision was that the court found that the city had not made the findings that it felt were necessary to justify awarding a contract using a process other than low cost. The default for city contracts is they're awarded to the company offering the lowest price to the city. As you know, many of our professional services contracts, we issue requests for proposals where we evaluate other factors besides cost, experience, the level of service, etc. The court found in its order that in order to justify deviating from that default low cost only method of selecting a contractor, that the city needs to make certain threshold findings that competitive bidding is not advantageous and things of that sort. The court found that since it saw no evidence in the record of those findings, that the contracts awarded following the RFP were void.
Okay, so subsequent to that court decision, what have been the actions of the city on this matter when it comes to these security contracts?
For the particular contractors in place, the city has put into place temporary contracts with each of the current security providers to ensure that there is absolutely no interruption in security service. The contracts are designed and written to be temporary and will allow the department to reissue an RFP, request for proposals, this time with the necessary findings that the court said we need to do, and then basically a new procurement process will take place. Companies will submit new proposals, and eventually new longer-term contracts will be put in place.
When do we anticipate putting those out, beginning that RFP process?
Within the next 6 to 9 months.
Within the next 6 to 9 months. So the current providers of security are going to be around for those 6 to 9 months, and in addition to that, about how long does this we anticipate the process to take once we commence that RFP process?
Probably about 3 months.
Okay. So the current, we expect to be working with the current operators anywhere between 9 to 12 months before we
at the outside
implement
that would be my estimate.
The
yes.
two contract, excuse me, the new contracts.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And who's in charge of writing the language to make sure that we conform with that decision of July 2nd? Is that the city attorney's office?
Our office will be working with GSD to make sure that the RFP has the necessary findings.
Okay. All right. Anything else you'd like to add at this time?
No.
Okay. Is there anybody here to provide public comment on item number 7? We are on item number 7. I do not see any public comment cards that have been forwarded to me on item number 7. So seeing and hearing nobody come forward on item number 7 for public comment. Public comment on item number 7 is now closed. So at this time, it'll be the action of this committee to continue this motion and also request the city attorney and the GSD that they be instructed. Any other departments affected by this?
The user departments, there are additional user departments. However, GSD is the department that manages the contracts.
Okay. All right. So city attorney's office and also the GSD, if necessary, also to work with any other departments affected by this, if necessary, and report back on the details of the July 2nd, 2008 court decision. The report should include whether any security services will be interrupted and whether the nullification of the contracts exposes the city to any liability. Also request that the city attorney to advise whether a closed session will be necessary. So at that time, I know you provided some of the answers today. We just want to make sure that we double check if there's any liability or anything else that might come to pass that we should be aware of. Come back to this committee in the next 30 days, and then if the city attorney thinks that anything that we need to discuss in closed session, please make sure that you notify us of that at that time.
Certainly.
Okay. So see you in another 30 days if anything's changed or anything else you'd like to bring to light on this matter. Thank Thank you.
Thank you.
We now move to item number 8.
Item number 8, motion Gruel Rosendahl relative to the collection of accident data from electronic communication modules on city vehicles involved in accidents.
Leonard Walker with the Department of General Services, Fleet Services Division.
Tony DeClue, General Services.
Larry Tagawa, LAPD, Motor Transport Division.
Okay. Can you explain to the committee what an ECM is?
Yes, an ECM is basically an engine control module, and it's the brain of the vehicle that operates the engine. And there is also, on certain vehicles, it also has what they call a event data recorder on certain vehicles where it can capture pre-accident and accident information.
Pre-accident information?
Yes, on some cars.
Give me an example of what a pre-accident piece of information would be.
Okay, for example, on an automotive, say like a General Motors product that has an airbag, if there's a near collision, meaning a rapid deceleration in speed, the airbag module will arm and anticipate an accident, and it'll start recording data before the accident actually occurs.
And that's a particular feature that's on some vehicles, modern vehicles, not all modern vehicles?
Well, correct. What's happening, the technology has been evolving over the years, and by 2013, NHTSA, which is the National Highway Safety, Traffic Safety Administration, has set rules that if any automaker decides to put a event data recorder on a vehicle, they have to meet certain criteria. It's like 15 elements that have to be monitored. And it's all for crash research to reduce incidents.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody here to make public comment on item number 8? Or on item number 8? Public comment is open on item number 8. Seeing and hearing no one come forward on item number 8, public comment on item number 8 is now closed. With that, what we'll do, this committee will instruct the General Services Department and any other appropriate departments, including proprietary departments, to report back in 30 days and include the following information in the report: the number of vehicles currently equipped with ECMs, also the budget and cost to purchase or install and maintain ECMs in vehicles, and also the existing procedures for utilizing ECMs. And also instruct the City Attorney Civil Liability Division and the CAO Risk Management Division to compile the list of city vehicles that are currently equipped with ECMs. And with that, we'll continue this motion to hear those reports back in 30 days.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We now move to item number 11.
Item number 11, GSD report relative to a proposed lease agreement for the California Center of the Book at Pico Branch Library located at 694 South Oxford Avenue.
Irene Saltzman, Asset Management Division, General Services. This lease would be between the City of Los Angeles and the Metropolitan Cooperative Library System, and they fund the California Center for the Book, which is a federally funded nonprofit reading promotion program that provides free or low-cost services and resources to libraries and teachers throughout the state of California. Previously, they were at UCLA, and it was decided that this should be housed in a public library setting, which is a better fit than an academic library setting. And there is space at the Pico Library, and the library department favors this. And the library department will collect the rent of $1,760.50 monthly, or $21,126 annually, for the approximately 1,006 square feet.
1,006 square feet. Okay, good. Sounds like a good partnership. Is anybody here to make public comment on item number 11? We are on item number 11. Public comment is open on item number 11. Seeing and hearing none, public comment on item number 11 will now be closed. With that, it's the recommendation of the chair of this committee to approve the item. Thank you. We now move to item number 12.
Item number 12, GSD report relative to authorization to renew a lease agreement with Blackhawk Associates LLC for the continued occupancy by the Los Angeles Police Department of 15545 Devonshire Street, Suite 300 in Mission Hills, formerly council file number 95-1436.
The LAPD Internal Affairs Division has occupied this office since August of 1995, and the renewal of this lease allows the Internal Affairs Division to continue operations at its facility located in the North San Fernando Valley. This would be for a 5-year term with a 5-year option commencing on July 1st of 2008. It's the same square footage. And GSD has budgeted sufficient funds in their leasing account to cover the lease costs.
Okay. And this is approximately 4,480 square feet?
Correct.
And they also have potential annual increase of 3% per year?
Yes, which is...
And it includes 16 parking spaces, some covered. And this is a pre-existing facility as far as the police department utilizing it, correct?
Right. They've been there since 1995.
All right. Okay, is anybody here to make public comment on item number 12? We are on item number 12. Public comment is now open. Seeing and hearing no one come forward on item number 12 for public comment. Public comment on item number 12 is now closed. With that, it will be a recommendation of the chair of this committee to approve the item. Thank you. Now we move to item number 14.
Item number 14, GSD report relative to assignment to the State of California of lease agreement number C-108759 between the city and Los Angeles County at San Pedro Municipal Building, 638 South Beacon Street in San Pedro, formerly council file number 03-0422.
This is a request for an assignment of lease from Los Angeles County to the Judicial Council of California Administrative Office of the Courts, which is the state of California. This request would assign, delegate, and relinquish all rights, title, interests in the leasehold from the County of Los Angeles to the Judicial Council of California's Administrative Office of the Courts, which is an entity of the state of California. The existing tenant is in one of the many county-owned or leased facilities that will be transferred to state control. The current lease expires this month and automatically shifts to a month-to-month holdover, but the state would like to maintain the use of the space, as it will be determined later if the lease will be extended for a longer term. And the state believes they can do this in about 6 months.
Okay, and it looks as though it'll be $64,792.20 per year.
Right.
And it also has a 3% CPI increase embedded in the contract.
Right, it's the same terms and conditions.
Okay, all right. Is anybody here to make public comment on item number 14? Item number 14, public comment is now open. Seeing and hearing none, public comment period on item number 14 is now closed. With that, it will be the recommendation of the chair of this committee to approve the item. That concludes the items on our agenda. General public comment is now open in this committee. Is anybody here to make general public comments to this committee? Seeing and hearing no one come forward to make public comment to this committee for general public comment. General public comment is now closed. With that, this committee is now adjourned. Thank you.